I command you to grow. When I say grow, motherfucker, you have no choice. You have no option. Five years doing this bullshit. I'm still fucking here. I'm still curly, motherfucker. I'm still curly. You can't keep me out. This motherfucker die in pursuit of my goal. So fucking here. Don't fucking look at anything and think it's impossible. Motherfuck your limitations. Don't place them on me, because I don't think there's a motherfucking thing that I can't do. I can't do tomorrow. Fuck your excuses. Fuck your excuses. Fuck them to pieces. Every last one of your measly ass fucking excuses. You're dealing with the man who thinks that. Fuck your goddamn excuse. You talking to a motherfucker that's been dead 3 times. And I take my punk ass to the gym. Fuck you and fuck your excuses. Get your punk ass to that gym. Yeah. I look you in the face. And I kicked your fucking ass. I'm still here. You ain't take me out yet. I'm still here, motherfucker. Still here. So, Dick, I guess I got the last laugh after all.
Phone died. Let's see. Nobody more special than anybody on this earth. It's just people that's willing to go down into the valley of nothingness, the valley of darkness, and come back with the sun. I don't care if you're that small boy sitting in Project Halls. I don't care if you're that girl that mother preaching like class and calls out her name. I don't care if you're that young boy who never had a father to take him outside or throw a football. I don't care if you're that father that they say is not a good father. They don't understand. You never learned how to be a father. You never learned how to love. I want you to know that you still are something. And as long as you got air in your lungs, life in your body, you can be anything you want to be. As long as you believe in that very gift that you have in the bottom of your stomach, that fire that burns, that dream that wakes you up in the middle of the night and wakes you up and have you screaming to the sun, rise, so I can go after this dream. That is the very thing that you should chase every single day. If you chase this dream with consistency and you believe, your book and your calendar will fill up. You can be anything you want to be. This is what we want to do. We don't need you anymore. So all these books, all those names, everything you're looking at, you're going to realize when you're standing on that stage, when you're standing at that altar, when you're standing at that point, you're going to understand that everything I needed was inside of me. Everything I needed was inside of me. Now, if you call me, I promise I'll let you turn around. You will call me King. You will call me King. Wake up every single day. Thinking about how can I change my life? How can I stand on the stage with the giants? I started this on the homeless on the side of the Bucky Hill gas station, and I told myself I would not die here. I said, how can I build $1 million business with no money? The conscience in my head spoke to me and said, purpose. He said, when you work for your purpose will begin to work for you, and dreams and beautiful things will start to manifest. And I truly believe this. And when I realized that I was going to have to put on my hard hat, and I was going to have to put on my boots, and I was going to have to strap up and fight for this dream, that's when things started to happen. I told people, I never wanted to be the man to the leader that stood in the front and everyone stood behind me. I wanted to be a leader that everybody stood inside of me, and we fought together. And we're going to sell our soul for a taste of a light bulb. It's time that real comes to life. That's why the world is falling in love with this motivation, because it's real. You can feel it, you can see it, you know it. Because most of my motivation comes from my darkest days. You want me to come to the middle of the project? I'm coming. You want me to go with money with sleep and live? I'm coming. You want me to fight that abuse of the husband being on you? I'm coming. I'm going to take drug dealers and turn them into community leaders. I'm going to turn world into security. I'm going to turn drug addict mothers back into beautiful queens. I'm going to turn broken men into kings. And I'm going to turn everything inside the house. God is inside of me to tell the truth. So when I say the kings are on the rise, we are on the rise. But are you willing to die? Are you willing to sleep outside of the CEO office for opportunity? You see, just getting to the opportunity is hard. Seizing the moment is a whole other monster. So while you're fighting and you're calling to get to the next level, let me tell you something. If you're a person out there trying to buy your way to the top, I'm going to let you know something, king and queen. You can't buy a legacy. This you must earn. So be the type of person that's willing to fight. Give your blood, sweat, and tears for what you believe in. And understand, a legacy can never be bought. See, the Most High give us this dynamic gift. This gift is so amazing. I mean, this gift that the whole world wants to buy. But he makes us work for it. He makes us blind. He makes us feel the pain of the process. And for me, I would say I'd rather have no other way. So we get a lot of people that throw all these big conferences, throw all these big, amazing events, and what I realize is you pay $10,000, but the Most High is the only one that's going to give you the date that says it's time for you to be great. It's time for you to be phenomenal. See, many of us like to skip the hard part. We like to skip the stages that make us the great people that we are born to be. That's why I have the saying, live full and die empty. And that's what I live by. I realize that you have to be willing to sleep outside of that office for your opportunity. You must be willing to go down to the shelter and eat those canned goods for your opportunity. You must be willing to almost die for your dream. And you must realize that you cannot buy this. No one can give you this. You must earn this. Now play this game as if my life was on the line. And individuals all over the world to understand this very thing. Greatness lies in the man that believes it's in him. So the big dogs, they won't give you the opportunity. You're gonna have to take it. You're gonna have to sleep in your car. You're gonna have to sleep on that floor. You're gonna have to cry them tears. But we're not gonna be crybabies. We're gonna be lions. You know what a lion is? When a lion is bleeding, he licks his wounds and he keeps walking.
A big interview, something happening, a moment in time where we need to show up, it can feel like that confidence is impossible. It can feel like those moments are so few far between and that we're not enough to handle it. That we're not going to be able to make it through, that we're going to crack under the pressure, and all of those things may or may not be true, and they may happen and they may not. But what's true is that you are enough to handle it. And if you use the strategy that we're going to talk about in this video, you actually lean into the things, the tactics, the actions, and the habits that you can build to become more confident, then the next time you show up in an interview, the next time you have an exam, the next time you rise to the occasion, you'll be enough to handle. Even though those moments may feel challenging, like the moment is just too big, like you're not enough to handle it, that's not true. You are able to overcome that, but it's going to take effort. It's going to take consistent action and using the strategies you need to be able to become more confident. You're nervous, you're scared, you're worried, and you don't know what's going to happen. It may seem like things aren't going to.
You will do so on an act of faith because you don't know that the floor is not going to give up your feet. Where would you take a journey? What an act of faith. Any kind of undertaking in relationship. What an act of faith.
All the way, from the top. Yeah. But you don't dig into that, you don't know nothing but my foot. The motherfucking rock bottom. Rock bottom. 2005, I had open heart surgery. Emergency open heart surgery. During that surgery,
Remember the time when you wanted more. Remember the time when there were people in your life that did not believe in you. Remember the time when you, honestly, gave up on the possibilities of the uniqueness that you had inside. Remember there was a time that you complained so much, but yet did so little. It comes to a point in your life that you must recognize that there's a little bit more that has to be done than just complaining about it. You have to realize that you don't have any other opportunities waiting for you if you're not willing to work for the first opportunity that's been given to you. You don't have a lot of time left, so there's no reason to complain. You're not even in a position to complain. You have to figure out that there has to be another idea about you, and you have to understand that there has to be something even greater and more challenging waiting for you. And if you're not willing to step outside of your comfort zone, if you're not willing to understand the principles and the possibilities that you have within yourself, then everything that you are thriving for, everything that you are hungry for, will soon come to an end. Now, I'm not here to preach to you about this. I'm here to let you know that there are things that are going on around you right now that are far greater than your complaining. You complaining about so much, but yet you show no action. If you could trade places with someone right now, and the person that you're trading places with may have it just a little bit tougher than you have it going on in your life right now. So many people are suffering from so many things in this world at this moment, but yet you're complaining. So many people in this world right now wish they could trade places with you, but yet you're still complaining. You don't have that right to just give up. You don't have that right to just throw in the towel and say that it's over for you. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand that the reason that you are existing in this world right now is because you have things that must be done, and only certain people are qualified to take it to the level that it needs to be taken to. For there should never be a limitation to wherever it is that you are seeking and how far you're willing to travel and how far you're willing to go. Sometimes people tend to get a little lazy. Sometimes people like to put themselves in this little bitty box and just say that they're okay with where they are. There can never just be an okay to anything when it comes to that life. There should never just be a complacent mindset. How do we evolve? How do you evolve? How do you grow? One thing about success, there are going to be many struggles. There are going to be many challenges. And there are going to be a lot of things that you may not even understand. But you got to go back to where it started. Remember when you wanted more. Because you cannot satisfy your hunger with negative energy. Being negative doesn't help you grow. Being humble doesn't give you the power that you need. You have to come to a point in your life that you must realize that there are things that are going on that's testing you. And maybe you may be in a position where you feel that you are broken, or you feel that you're going to be broken. But I'm here to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, that you are built to last. I'm here to let you know that you don't have the right to complain anymore. I'm here to let you know that you have to keep on living and living on strong. I dare you to take a trip to your local hospital. And if you have an opportunity to walk down those corridors and witness so many different people, different age groups, different ethnicities, and each one of these individuals are fighting something. They're dealing with some type of sickness. And some of these sicknesses, they may not be able to recover from. I dare you to walk down a neighborhood where there are many people that are homeless and have no place to go, no food to eat, barely even have clothes on their backs. I dare you to realize that maybe you just don't have it so bad after all. Maybe it's time for you to realize and recognize that your troubles are not that bad. Maybe it's time that you realize that you need to get away from the drama that's in your life. Maybe it's time for you to stop chasing misery and start chasing your dreams. Reconnect with yourself. Because this is not the time for you to be wasting, putting yourself back instead of pushing yourself forward. Ladies and gentlemen, you have so much to offer, so much to give, so much to do. But doing it and sitting around waiting for it to happen, it's just going to stay neutral. You have to electrify the desire that you have, that you once had. So the next time you feel like complaining, you feel like worrying, and you're so concerned about other things that doesn't necessarily concern you, ask yourself, is it making you better? Is it taking you higher? Are you going further? Or are you just being complacent? Complacent and waiting and worrying and doing things that are not better for you? Are you going to realize that maybe just going up that mountain does take a little bit more work to just having something handed to you? Are you going to be that person that realizes that if and when you get to the top of the mountain, it don't just stop there? You got to figure out another way to go even higher. You have to electrify and get all the things that are necessary within you to start doing the things that you need to do, so when the time comes, you can kick down that door and move towards the possibilities of being the best of who you really are. Don't lose yourself in the things that's not going to give you the strength and the capacity of understanding that you matter for something. Don't lose yourself in fear.
Don't lose yourself in doubt. Dare yourself to be better. Dare yourself to be unique. Dare yourself to be the best possibility that the world has yet to see.
Some of you realize you have unfinished business. Go back to the drawing board. Go back to the business. Go back to the relationship. Go back to the burning building. You have unfinished business. All you gotta do is show up with a new game plan and a new perspective. You got unfinished business. You have unfinished business. You got work to do. Perspective is everything. Let's go. I need you to hear me loud and clear. How you see this thing is everything. You cannot change the past, but you can change your perspective about it. You gotta see this thing differently. Stop complaining about the divorce. Stop complaining about the job loss. Stop complaining about the relocation. Your viewpoint is your advantage. Thank you for breaking up with me. Here's what you did. You opened up another opportunity for somebody else to come into my life. Thank you for firing me. You gave me an opportunity to explore entrepreneurship. I'm not bitter. I'm bitter. Perspective is what changes the game. Everybody wants increase and abundance and lifestyle change and new zip codes and new area codes, but you only read once a week and you only work out once or twice a month. And so the reason why you don't have what it is that you see, the reason why what's in your head is not in your hands, it's not your reality, it's because your perspective opposes your potential. You don't have it because you don't see the value in it. If you believe you've been called to be the difference maker, the game changer, the disruptor, the person that comes into a room and commands the atmosphere, if you believe you've been called to be necessary and not grossly irrelevant, then everything you do, everything you see, everything rises and falls on your perspective, your perception, your viewpoint. How do you see this thing? What happens when your perspective, your perception diametrically opposes your reality? That you are going to give and grow and evolve and attain and become. Everything rises and falls on your viewpoint. Show me somebody that hates to work out, and I'll show you a man that almost lost his life, and the doctor said, if you don't work out, you'll die. One sees it as cumbersome. One sees it as a problem. Another one sees it as a privilege. He sees it as his second chance, his new lease on life, that I have to work out. I get to work out. I get a chance to live a little longer. So one person sees the gym as a prison, and another person sees the gym as a passport. One man came within inches of losing his life, and another man has never come within 100 miles of losing his life, and he only works out once a month, and somebody else works out 4 or 5 times a week. The reason why you only do it once or twice a month is because you don't see the value. Your viewpoint is either your advantage or your assassin. Your viewpoint will either keep you going or get you killed. We see a storm, we see rain, and we think depression. We think I can't do anything. Instead of thinking grass can't grow without rain, roses don't bloom without rain. Number one, there's one thing I need you to stop saying, and that is I should do something. That perspective, that viewpoint, that ideology, that philosophy, that mindset is going to get you bankrupt. I should start this. I should stop that. I should forgive. I should. You don't get what you should. You get what you must have. I must work out X amount of times a week. I must forgive. I must evolve. I must become. I must retain. I must grow. I must live. I must evolve. I must go to the next level. I must live in this type of house. I must drive this type of car. I don't care how bad you think the shoes are that you are wearing. There is another man in this world who would kill to walk a mile in the pair that you wear. Marcus, what does this mean? This means that what you are complaining about, what you hate, what you can't stand, what you want to walk out of, what you want to give up on, there is somebody out there that would die to be in your position. So here's what I need you to ask yourself. Is this problem an issue or is it an opportunity? Some of you, all you've been waiting for your whole life was an opportunity. What if losing your job was the opportunity? What if the divorce is an opportunity? What if the bankruptcy is an opportunity? What if the one you love was an opportunity for you to reconnect with somebody and forgive them? I need you to see the bigger picture. I need you to have a little gratitude. You need to learn how to smile. You need to work out. I
I know you hate the gym. I know you hate to lift weights. I know you hate cardio. I know you don't like drinking water. I know you don't like taking care of your temple. You think it's the hardest thing to do in the world to commit. But there is somebody who's in the grave today, and if they had another opportunity to live, they would enthusiastically, with great confidence and courage and consistency, do what you hate just to live a little longer. Find the positive. See the bigger picture. Guard your gratitude. The trial, the tribulation, the adversity, the giant is not your assassin. The giant is your opportunity. Are you going to complain in the face of conflict, or are you going to seize the opportunity? I don't care what it is that you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to give, how you're trying to evolve, what you are looking to become. Everything rises and falls on your perspective. Stop complaining about the jealousy and the envy and the backbiting and the person that gave up on you and the person that wasn't present and the person that lied to you and the person that attempted to manipulate and control. I'm not weary, I'm wiser. I'm not toxic, I'm triumphant. I see this thing differently. The season that you entered into did not come to break you. It came to build you into the man or woman God has destined you to be. Change your perspective. There's a reason why they say, see the light at the end of the tunnel. If you don't see that light, you're going to lose your mind. You will lose yourself. You will snap in half if you don't see past this. The challenge for many of us is that we got to see past our present pain and into the fruitfulness of the future. The right perspective makes the impossible possible. You cannot change the past, but you can always change your perspective. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness they created. The severity of your problems is a matter of perspective. Change your perspective, and most of them become insignificant. Some of them will no longer exist as problems, but opportunities. The right perspective is the instrument you need, the tool you need. It's a discipline, it's an advantage. If you change the way you look at things, then the things that you see will change. Knowledge, a speech, a motivational moment will not sustain you unless you put it into perspective. How will you see the rest of your day? Because how you see the rest of your day will oftentimes determine the way you see the rest of your life. Shift your perspective. You can change your perspective. You can change the future. Many of you listening to me right now, you have unfinished business. And you need to go back to that dream, back to that idea. You have a date with destiny. You have unfinished business. It's time for you to go back to the drawing board with a new perspective. It's your viewpoint. And watch this. Your perspective actually shapes your language. And your language shapes your world. And so if you don't start thinking right, you're not going to talk right. And if you're not talking right, you're not going to experience the world that you see in your head. I don't know who God has called you to become, but what I can tell you is if you keep seeing it the way you have seen it, you will never become it. Everybody wants next level. Everybody wants wealth and influence. And everybody wants to be this esoteric novelty. But listen to me, you will never experience any of this showing up in your next season with the same viewpoint. The right perspective makes the impossible possible. You said that extraordinary life, you got to have extraordinary psychology. Extraordinary psychology, you got to live in an extraordinary state. In an extraordinary state, you got to condition your nervous system, your body, your physiology, and focus to be in your best. When you do that, though, you can do that. Why doesn't get better? Why you can't? You already do. Think about your own life. I know there are areas in your life where some point in time you just shifted, you raised the standard, your life changed. Because whatever people have an identity attached to, they live. We live, we believe we are.
My journey from here to there was lonely. The reason? I was willing to be wrong and live wrong so that I could grow, so that I could change. You see, growth is a result of bad habits dropped, wrong priorities changed, and new ways of thinking embraced. It happens only when we question ourselves enough to ask serious questions from others. The people who do not grow are unwilling to ask themselves or others hard questions. They are unwilling to leave what they have known and practiced. They are not willing to be wrong so they can discover what is right. Therefore, they cling to right, and their lives turn out wrong. How sad.
We get what we're looking for. We filter out everything else in our life. You can't get what you're looking for even if it doesn't exist. Even if not even there. If you're looking for negatives, if you're looking for setbacks, if you're looking to be looked over, you will find it even though it's not supposed to be there. But if you're looking for victory, for win, for recruits, for people to change your life, for magic moments, you will find them if you're looking for it. I promise you that's true in life.
Your brain, when you condition it, knows exactly what to go for and will find a way to get there. When you decide what's most important to you, your brain goes after it. Surrender of being right enables us to ask questions that others can answer and add value to us. Surrender of being right is the prerequisite to finding right. I believe that's all my heart. Here's what I know. I never want to get to the place where I've got it all figured out. I still want to keep learning. I still want to keep growing. And I still want to be a student. And I still want to be on a learning curve. And I still want to value people. And I still want to walk in life and say, look, you have something that if I could just ask the right question, you can impart to me that would help me, that would allow me to become a better person myself.
Ego is the anesthesia that deadens the pain of stupidity. Pride is the burden of a foolish person. You're going to do a job. Do it right. Always been told how average I can be. Always been criticized about being average. But I want to tell you something. I stand here before you, before all of these people, not listening to those words, but telling myself every single day to shoot for the stars, to be the best that I can be. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better. And better isn't good enough if it can be best. Wisdom will come to you in the unlikeliest of sources. A lot of times we fail. When you hit rock bottom, remember this. While you're struggling, rock bottom can also be a great foundation on which to build and on which to grow. I'm not worried that you'll be successful. I'm worried that you won't fail from time to time. Person that picks up off the canvas and keeps growing, that's the person that will continue to grow their influence. How many of you would love a breakthrough? All right. Number one, you have a permeating attitude that you're going to win. You have a positive outlook. You got to be optimistic. You got to know you're going to win. You got to right now. You got to say, I'm going to win. I don't need just this contest. I don't need the contest. I mean, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. My life is going to win. It's going to be a victorious life. Because listen to me. The price you pay for losing here is too extreme. You have to carry the burden of failure the rest of your life. You carry that around with you. If you fail here. The biggest thing that breaks my heart is you feel the spirit right now. And when you get back, this dream steal is running through you. And you get to steal your dream. And you quit. You give up. You decide you're going to win. You got to decide that the failure part of carrying it. You've been exposed to what your life could be. If you fail, the price is extreme. It's forever. You carry the failure forever. I'm being honest with you. How many people oftentimes say, I was in WFG, you didn't change my life this week, but. They put their heads down. They've been carrying it. They carry it. You see these Facebooks and Instagrams of what we're doing. You got to know you're going to win. You got to sell out. Yeah, I thought you got to become a sellout. You need to sell out. You need to accept. You got to get relentless. You got to be a road dog. You got to get intense. That's what you got to do. There's some dream stealers. You need to look out for these four. I don't want them to happen. You ready? Say yes. Dream stealer number one, I'll take you out of here. Lack of confidence or faith. Lack of belief. You got to steal your dream. You got to know you're going to win. You got some faith. These people sitting around you right now. They're listening to you. Just like you really want. Just like you really feel. They always believe in you. They always want you to do something special. They always believe you're great. You need to know. You need to take that God that's sitting there with you. And those precious souls that you have, they always believe in you. You carry them everywhere. They with you anywhere. Acknowledge them. If you don't believe that, honor them. Honor God. Honor these people who believe in you with your magnificent life. Honor them. Don't give in to lack of belief, lack of confidence. Don't ever do that again. Don't do any WFG or IWFG. You were made to do something great. You're special. You're made in the image of God. Something awesome is supposed to happen for you. And those of you that have made something awesome happen, something even more awesome is supposed to happen for you.
I would say for the last 45 years, and you've told psychologists, and certainly to blame for this, at least in part, you're okay the way you are. That's what we tell young people. Oh, you're okay the way you are. It's like, and there's nothing worse than you can tell someone who's young than that, especially if they're miserable. You know, and lots of them, well, if they're miserable and aimless, it's like, oh, I'm miserable and aimless, and sometimes I'm suicidal and I'm nihilistic and I don't have any direction in my life. It's like, well, you're okay the way you are. And it's like, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear, look, you know, and you know this, you're useless. You know nothing. You haven't got started. You've got 60 years to put yourself together, and God only knows what you could become. And that message is so much more, it's so funny because it's such an attack. But it's so positive because there's faith there in the potential that makes up the person rather than the miserable actuality that happens to be manifesting itself at the moment. And young people respond extraordinarily well to that because I can know that if you're a parent and you love your child, your son, your daughter, what you're trying to foster is the best in them. You want that to manifest itself across the course of their life. You want them to become continually more than they are, to see what they could be. And well, I think that's part of the great message of the West, is that that's the ethical requirement of individual being in the proper sense, is to constantly note that you're not what you could be, to take responsibility for that, and to commit yourself, like body and soul, to the attainment of that ideal.
So I have this thing that I've been promoting called No Whining Wednesday. Wednesday, you cannot whine, complain, or criticize. And people are like, well, what is whining? Whatever you think it is, don't do it. And every time you do it, you have to put a quarter in a jar. If you whine about anything, I can't, my knee, why did you have me? Every one of them will cost you a quarter. Or complaining, why do you always, how come you, I always, they never, cost you a quarter. Then last week, I had people send me pictures of their jars of quarters. Oh my God. But what they said to me also was, this was wonderful, because I was never ever aware of how much whining and complaining and criticizing I do. Now I've got mothers doing it with their children. So Wednesday is no whining Wednesday. We need to practice that. We need to stop whining about what isn't happening, what we don't have, what we can't do, what somebody didn't do. And I'm clean in 2014. No whining, no complaining, no criticizing. I struggled all through school. The last time I took English class, I got a fail. And my English teacher said I was the weakest writer she ever met in her entire life. The last time I took speech class, same year, I got a D- in speech. And my speech teacher said, Lisa, quote unquote, I recommend you never speak in public, that you get a desk job. So that was the beginning of my life. That was my 19-year-old experience. And then I go on and I'm trying to figure it out. I was obedient. I went and got a job in accounting. I was in the collection department for 7 years. Y'all don't know I'm dangerous for accounting. I'm just dangerous. And I'm in collections. And you should never put a broke person in collections. Never, because everybody's reasons sound good to me. Not only I felt funny, but it was real. Not only did I say, girl, don't you worry about paying, I'm gonna take your name off the list. Somebody went to jail because I got fired from 5 different jobs. And then I got pregnant with my son unexpectedly. And then in 8 months, my son's father went to prison. I had to get on government assistance to have my baby. I was on WIC, Women, Infant, and Children, to feed my child. And when my son was 8 months old, I went to the ATM to get $20 out the bank because I didn't have any Pampers for him. And in order to get $20 out, she got that $20 in. I had $11.42. And I still can't tell the story without getting emotional because it's my story. For 2 days, I had to wrap my son in a towel. But something happened, Steve, in those 2 days. I was at rock bottom. I was broke, and I was broken. Inglewood, California. My son lay on his back at 8 months. I have a towel over, and I have my hand on his stomach saying, don't you worry, Jelani. Mommy will never be this broke again. And I made a decision. I was bankrupt. And every stinking thinking I had, I was bankrupt and trying to protect my pride. I was bankrupt and trying to be all that in a bag of chips and a bowl of grits falsified. I was bankrupt and trying to not ask anyone for help. I was bankrupt in everything that was holding me and keeping me where I was. I always talked a good game, but I wasn't doing anything with my gift. And all that thing about potential, I was tired of having potential. I wanted to have my now. And I looked at that baby at 8 months and I said, I want to transform your life. Because you didn't ask to come into this chaos. As an African-American male child in South Central Los Angeles, with a single mother whose father's in prison, he had a 66% chance of going to prison himself. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. So I have to be willing to drastically transform myself